Most people focus on passing exclusively to side control. This is of course very effective, but when your opponent is very good and keeps their elbow and knee tight, this becomes very difficult to do. To pass to side control, you must create a disconnection of the elbow and knee space, but sometimes this is impossible. In this case, passing directly to north-south is much more effective, but passing to north-south is fundamentally different than passing to side control. Not having this skill is a huge blind spot in many people's game. When you pass to north-south, it's easier to deflect your opponent's feet from getting between you and them, and from this angle, you can slowly grind them down and open the elbow-knee space to consolidate the position. So this video, I'm gonna break down the main mechanics of doing this. Then I'm gonna show 4 powerful methods for setting this up. So we're gonna start from the north-south position, and then we'll talk about setups to get there a little bit later. So the main idea is when the elbow and knee is connected, it's hard to come in from side. So we're gonna create this north-south position. Now the first main thing here is to not let one of his feet get in between my chest and his chest. Even if I'm digging in here, if his leg comes over my back into this gap, he's gonna get out. So the number one goal, block the feet. Another common theme here is as I'm trying to dig in, he's gonna be trying to swivel to one side. Because if he can get to one side, like if he turns out this way, now it's much easier for this foot to find space in. So what I wanna do is as I'm here and he starts trying to swivel to one side or the other, I'm always trying to follow him. One of the main ways to do this is keeping my legs in this wide base position. If I start to get too settled to one side, he can use that leg to spin off. So if I get settled over here, he can use that hand there to spin off like that, and it makes it so that he can get back. So I'm always trying to keep this kind of wide leg position, and I start using my arms to dig in. Now there's different levels of how far out his feet will be. If his legs are like really far out, of course I can start digging in. But if his feet are much closer like this here, when his feet are here, if I immediately try to dig, the feet will come in. So I actually, like, let's say he's here. I can't go straight for the body because the feet are in the way. So the first thing I do is I try to get in front of the shins and use my biceps to block here. Now if he starts bringing his feet in, I can kind of block out here. As he tries to shift out to one side, I follow, right? You have to kind of use your intuition to deflect the feet. The main enemy is the feet getting in here. I block with this, and if he tries to go over the back, I'll even connect my elbow and knee so he can't get in here, right? Again, if I leave this too open, that foot will come over, he'll come all the way through and maybe even have a shoulder lock. Another tool I'll use when I'm in here is if he starts shifting to one side, I'll use my hand on the knee for support. So let's say that he tries to go the other way. Yeah, see, I'm using this because what happens is as he tries to shift that way, I can use my hand on the knee to block him. So for example, if we're here and he uses the hand on my shin to spin back this way, he can spin back that way, right? But if I have a hand here, as he tries to spin back that way, it blocks him from moving, right? So what I'm doing here is as I dig in and he tries to swivel out to one side, I'm using this hand here to block. If he goes the other way, I'm using this hand to block like this. So usually as you're digging in to finish, you're gonna have to see what side's available. So I can't really pick. So I'm gonna start pushing up on the knees, and as he starts moving and responding, I see what side opens. So in this case, I felt that this side opened enough and my arm came in here, and now I start consolidating chest to chest. Sometimes you'll go to north-south, a lot of times you will. Sometimes it immediately turns into this more reverse side control type finish. Sometimes the finish instead, he's bringing the feet in and I'm here, and sometimes I can dig the arm as well, as long as I get the over the back grip and the foot can't come in. So now as he keeps fighting from here, I can dig in, lock in, and I get this over back grip version of the reverse side control. I'm just trying to find a way to consolidate in. One of the most common mistakes when trying to finish in north-south is trying to rush it. So when I get this position and his legs are coming in and I'm here, I actually don't have to rush this. It can take 20 seconds sometimes to consolidate this as long as you don't let the feet in. So he starts bringing his knees in and I kind of take my time here, and eventually his hip fatigues out and I find my way into the finish. What people will often do wrong is they want the finish so bad they dig in too fast, and then that leg comes around and digs in and they escape. The first pass we're gonna look at will be applying this with a torando pass. Normally with a torando, we want to rip the inside elbow knee space open to create a direct line to side control. But in this case, our opponent is so tight with the knees that it is easier to run or spin our way to north-south and create the finishing position. And just a quick reminder, guys, if you're enjoying this content, the best way you can help support the channel is to like and leave a comment letting me know if you have any questions or requests for future videos. Leaving comments helps me out a lot because it gives me ideas for future videos and helps push the video in the algorithm, which helps me a lot by growing the channel and makes it easier for me to make more videos for you guys in the future.
So when we're doing the torando, often I'm looking to open this elbow knee space so I can get a clear drive into a side control finish. But of course, what people often do is keep this knee tight when they have a good guard. And in this case, there's a lot of different ways we can do it. We're gonna start with a simple one. I'm just gonna block his legs and I make a big step all the way around to north-south and start digging from here like we did before. It's important to mention, I don't try to go to side control first and then try to go to north-south. I try to do it immediately. If I go to side first, often he'll block the shin and now he follows me as I go. So what I wanna do is as I do this, he's gonna try to block it. Notice I do this big high step to dodge that and I land right in this north-south position. I want my left foot to step on this side of his head. So if he's turned into me a little bit here like this, I get this high step. And this traps him in that position. And again, I'm using the legs to help stop him from realigning. He wants to get back to the side. So these grips on the legs are blocking him from doing that. And as he brings his feet up to recompose, I switch my arms into the position we did before, and now I can start digging in and looking to finish. Another really cool way you can do this is if the person's knee is really tight, when you yank on it, it'll create a spinning motion. So I just grab the pants and the leg, and now I'm gonna punch as I pull, and it can spin him like a top. And again, I come straight to this position, and I'm gonna let go quick as he brings the feet in, and I start that dig and start working on the finish.
The crazy dog or cross pant pass system is another powerful way to set this up. It's been used to pass some of the best guards in the world. It's so effective because you can chain passes with it like a leg weave pass or a lapel rip off the floor. We will first start by understanding this, using this to set up the reverse torando grips.
So this is a whole system with this cross pant where you can grab the lapel, you can leg weave, but a lot of people use what's called a reverse torando here because the grips are crossed. So I have this cross pant, I'm here defending, this foot's in the way defending, and I'm gonna kind of get an ankle grip. You could do a pant grip sometimes like this. And now I'm gonna do that same kind of high step over here and create this kind of position here. From here, it's basically the same thing, but with these cross grips, it's actually a little bit stronger to block him from trying to bring his legs up because I have such a straight line. But eventually I get them down and I can dig in immediately if I think it's open, or if his legs are still pretty tight, I still get into this kind of battle, dig, and find the finish. Another common way to use this is in a rip to north-south. So basically what I have the same cross pant. A lot of people do this when they're knee shielded. So I leg weave here and get this pant. So here they're looking for the lapel to work their way in. And as the guy's defending and following, they come up around here. And now what they do is they release all grips and rip with the lapel, which snaps the feet down. And now you can fast drop in, dig, and go for the finish.
Usually when we do a knee cut pass, we are thinking of finishing directly to side control. But often you will go for a cut and your opponent can press you out wide enough, making the elbow knee space hard to capture. So transitioning out wide and spinning to a north-south position can be a powerful alternative for finishing this pass.
So when we're going for the knee cut, normally we're trying to go into side control and kind of get our hip or our shoulder connected to them and finish in here. But what happens sometimes is our opponent keeps their elbow knee tight. That space is hard to get in. And maybe as you go, they get this knee shield on you. So you end up sliding out really far on the cut. So what that can look like, I could do it with a collar, with an underhook, is as I go, this shield comes in here and I hit out a little bit wider like this. So now when this happens, instead of trying to finish inside, I'm gonna fast switch and try to go to the shoulder here. From here, if they kept turning, I would just go all the way around to the back. But usually what will happen here is he'll start to go back flat to try to fight. And now I can snap him as he brings his legs in and we start getting into this finish here and I can dig in and consolidate.
This last one is very unorthodox, but it's one of my recent favorite passes because it's so unexpected on your opponent and is almost impossible to stop once you enter it, no matter how flexible of a guard your opponent has.
So this last one is really unorthodox, but in my opinion, one of the most powerful passes versus a really flexible guard is we get our opponent into some kind of a stack. And here, traditionally, people dive for the back or they grab for the lapel, but switching to north-south is super powerful. So we have the guy stacked up, and instead of going across to grab a lapel, what I do is I circle up here and I dig, and I start going for this one. Now what happens here is often you can get across like this, and now I have both legs locked out. So I'm already starting to set up that north-south position. So from here, my left hand is gonna start grabbing on the gi here or belt or whatever I can get, and I'm gonna start shucking around here. He's gonna keep trying to stay in the stack, but I'm coming all the way around here. As I get here, you can see I've already created that same position. This arm has locked out both legs. So now as this comes down, we end up in the same kind of battle here, digging in and consolidating it.